Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably.
He was Jewish.
It's
What?
possible.
So
Well, he was old style Jewish.
Wait.
I don't have any knowledge of old
I don't
style
know
Judaism. Hey, welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wise Works podcast.
Are you girls geeks?
All right, if you're gonna jump in,
I tried.
You gave it a go.
The best part of watching the third Pirates movie is solely Davy Jones. That's it. Just Davy Jones. I'll only want Davy Jones.
No, gosh. I feel my mustache quivering.
Dude, I can't take it.
Why,
Welcome back.
It's the Wacky Wonderful Wise Works podcast.
Yes.
We're glad you're here, all you
Guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs.
Woo!
Has it kind of been like a thing to where I'm not allowed to do the intro?
You
just
up.
don't. No, you can
mess
do it.
up because
You can do it.
You're like
You can step up.
Taco Tuesday, my guy.
Well, the problem is you're more inclined to comment about the little details, like why is it showing advertisements on the little, as opposed to just looking at the camera and welcoming the people, which is not a problem. Just, you gotta
it is a problem.
not think about it and just
It's a
jump
flaw.
in.
It's a character flaw. It's something you need to deal with right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's actually something I wanted to talk about. Now, this isn't the topic, but this is something I think we should comment on.
Yes.
And it's something new that's happening. We've talked about it a little bit, and I wanted to show it here, get a little preview,
Okay.
and then we'll discuss it because and we'll react to it a little bit.
All
Right
right.
there. All right. Here we go. This is the Wheel of Time teaser that Amazon Prime put out recently.
Yeah. If we had
I
been
have not seen this.
on this when it first came out, we could have released a video.
Well, we're gonna
Would
hit
have been
up
a
that
short
trailer.
video,
We're gonna
yeah.
hit up that trailer
Yeah.
as soon as it comes out. But this is the teaser. Notice, did you see that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Makes me dizzy.
Whew.
Wheel of Time
Not time's wheel.
2021. So it's coming out this
Yeah.
year.
What do you know about the Wheel of Time?
I honestly don't know anything, but I'm super excited to learn.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Okay. Come on now. Do what I say. The Wheel of Time, I don't know much, but I did watch a few videos
Okay.
of this, and I wanted to show it so people could see it on the screen, and I wanted to just bring it up. So, like right at the beginning, there's a lot to that little teaser, I found out. So the little glimmer of light actually shows, like, apparently the yin-yang symbol is an important part of it.
It is.
The glimmer of light forms a yin-yang on one of the scales before it zooms out and does the whole thing. Apparently, a lot of designs on that little snake dragon thing is important. That's all I know.
So the yin yang is important to the magic system of the Wheel of Time. There's different. Well, there's essentially one magic system, but different ways that people access it. So there's a side that women access, and there's a side that men access.
Okay.
So in the books, you get a lot of very powerful female magic users because they can wield the magic freely. Okay. The men, while the magic for the men is more destructive magic, very dangerous magic. It's also
like warfare magic.
Yeah, it's also tainted with
not tainted.
dark
Not taint.
energy or something. I don't know. I haven't gotten it far enough into the books. It like corrupts the mind or the soul or something.
Okay.
So it's very dangerous. But it's interesting of what I know of it so far.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
It's interesting. I don't know much about Wheel of Time at all. Like, period.
Well, it's coming out this
you
year.
know, time. there's a wheel. That's all I know.
Yeah, John Mark knows probably. John Mark's read all the books.
So he's going to give us a review on this, right?
John Mark will definitely want to talk about this because he says it's starting out the books. The first one, what I've read of it is very Lord of the Rings.
Ooh,
very Lord of the Rings.
Well, that's a pleasant place to be.
Robert Jordan.
What?
Finish what you're saying, and then I got some news.
Okay, go ahead.
That I want to talk about.
So Robert Jordan is one of the first to sort of copy Tolkien's writing things, and sort of make a world similar.
Mm-hmm.
And he drew. You can tell he drew from a lot of different sources. The books, as they go on, are very distinctly their own, but have a lot of elements. John Mark says it gets similar to Dune.
Okay.
With some of the prophecies and some of what the character does.
Yeah.
Some of the people groups in the books.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well,
it's.
I'm super excited to dive into this world that I know nothing about. I do know that some of the big name casters, they pulled a lot of like kind of not very popular people, but one person that's popular.
John Bodega.
No. I don't know her name, which is sad of me. She played the wife in Gone Girl. They also
Rosamund Pike.
Yes.
Yeah.
They also have casted the man who played Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones. No, not Ramsay Bolton, the father of Ramsay Bolton. Bolton.
Yeah. I don't remember his first name.
No, I don't either. But it's okay. We all know Ramsay Bolton's father because Ramsay Bolton,
is a bad guy.
Skewed his own father.
Yeah.
And he was also the one who carried out the Red Wedding, his Ramsay Bolton's father, which is very popular in, cinema history. Red Wedding, if you don't know anything about it, you've lived under a rock.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about this show. I will say, we'll give our concerns later in the episode, but this is done by Amazon Prime. Doesn't have to mean anything. But we might give our thoughts as to other equations that we are going to associate with Amazon Prime.
I'll say this. Amazon Prime has put out some really good stuff.
Yeah.
Carnival Row, solid.
Mm-hmm.
What was another one I watched? There's a couple other ones. Really good shows. There's one with Tom Hiddleston, the Night Manager, I think, was
I thought you were going to say Loki.
An interesting drama, spy sort of show. They've put out a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has already been approved for season 2. Ooh. And it hasn't even come out yet.
It hasn't even come out yet. And the other thing I want to say about it is, what are they doing? They're saying it's coming out 2021, and all we have is a teaser. We have, 6 months left? Shouldn't you be advertising like a year before it comes out?
Yeah.
Like, what are they waiting on? We only have a teaser.
I want to see the
we don't
cast.
Even have a trailer yet.
I want to see the cast. I want to see who plays. Because
Google has all that information.
I've listened to enough of the book to know a lot of the cast members. And I'm super excited to see who the cast is.
Yeah. Speaking of something else that's coming out, piggybacking off something I talked about before.
Yep.
Good old Andy Serkis. You know what he's doing these days?
I saw an advertisement for what he's doing. What is he doing? Audiobooks?
Yes, but no.
In Gollum voice.
I was thinking the same thing.
Last year, 2 years ago, something like that. I can't remember when. He did a live stream book reading of The Hobbit for a charity.
Yeah.
He's decided to go back into the sound booth and do another audiobook, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Wow, that's a long one. It's a lot longer than The Hobbit.
It's not that long of a book.
It's long. Yeah, the Fellowship's pretty long.
Probably only 30 hours of listen time.
Okay, but Andy Serkis is going to read for 30 hours?
Yeah. But this was something I was really into. I've listened to the whole Hobbit book with him reading. He does a lot of voices. Really good. He's so good at it. And he did this all, I'm pretty sure, just like straight through because this was a live stream. I could be wrong with that. But he came up with voices for every single dwarf. How many dwarfs is there? Like 11.
In The Hobbit?
12, 11, 10.
In The Hobbit?
Something like that. Yes.
12. 13.
13 company
13
dwarves.
13 dwarves, I think. Go ahead. Carry on.
But he came up with different voices for every single character, plus like playing Gollum, plus playing Gandalf, plus playing all these characters.
Yes.
And that's a lot.
Yes.
And you have to keep it straight and how you do the voice and everything.
Well, if he's doing a full audio book and it's not live,
it probably not going to be live. He didn't.
Then he's going to have plenty of time to work on voices and really make it sound good.
Really good.
I mean, The Hobbit was fantastic. It was only like, I think altogether it was like maybe 7 hours. I could be wrong, but it's going to be long and it's going to be fantastic. I love Andy Serkis, and him doing audiobooks is like, that's his
top
lane,
tier.
I think. Yeah.
S tier.
I should look into that. I'd
You
like
should.
to. I'd like to hear what
he
how he does his books.
Yeah. Throw out some of your favorite audio hosts. Audiobook hosts.
Audiobook like readers.
Yeah, readers,
Ooh.
narrators.
Who's the teethy guy you guys like?
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Okay.
Tim Curry's
not
really
like
good.
an audiobook reader.
No,
But he's an actor,
he's
first and
done
foremost.
some
He's
audiobooks.
classically trained.
So
He's done some audiobooks though.
Yes.
Mark Nelson, which
Oh,
isn't
I
his
thought-
real
I thought
name.
you were going to say Hamill.
It's his pen name for
Okay.
he read like all of the Edgar Rice Burroughs books, Tarzan, Princess of
Oh,
Mars.
is he the guy
Ooh.
that's like, I don't even know how to do his
No,
voice. But
no. You're thinking. I think you're thinking of somebody else. But he's read. I've listened to him read so many different things over the years because it was all public domain, books.
Yes.
And he read quite a few. And then, big shout out to Tim Jared Reynolds. I think Tim Jared Reynolds is probably, and you know him because you listened to the Peter Pan book.
Yep.
You probably listened to.
Well, I don't even like Tim Curry, and I got scooped into the Tim Curry version.
Okay. So Tim Jared Reynolds is probably the most easy medium of all the readers I've ever listened to.
Okay.
As far as his voice and the voices he does, he's probably the best overall. Then you have Michael Kramer, who reads The Wheel of Time.
Ooh.
And he reads Brandon Sanderson's books, the Way of Kings books. He's read Mistborn and a lot of Sanderson stuff and Robert Jordan stuff. Fantastic voice.
Some people just
Absolutely
have
beautiful.
the audiobook voice. Somebody who I always thought had an audiobook voice was our old pastor. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
Jim Barnes.
Oh, come on.
You don't think he would have a good audiobook
He
voice?
has a voice.
Yeah. He was good in front of a camera.
He was mildly okay in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people step in front of a camera.
No,
and I've seen the full
but their
spectrum.
voice. Their voice.
You don't need a camera for audiobooks.
Well, I've also heard a lot of people get behind a microphone.
Okay. Who do you think would have a good book reading voice?
In my professional opinion,
Professional. Like he's a professional.
Jennifer Lawrence.
I take it. You
If Jennifer
can't say
Lawrence got behind a microphone
how
and did an
professional-
audiobook, heck yeah.
Of an audiobook. How much audiobooks do you read? I would call Wyatt a professional.
Okay,
audiobooks.
we got to
You
straighten
in
this out.
audiobooks?
You both have been referring to audiobooks as reading. You're not. You're
It is.
experiencing.
Yeah, but so is reading.
But reading is very specific. You guys are not reading. You're absorbing. You're enjoying listening.
Oh, I
I
don't really consider it as reading now.
I
But you
only
say the word
I
reading,
only
it's very
lump
specific.
the two together personally because thinking back to a book that I've read and the things that happen in the book,
Yes.
I don't see the time I read. I see all the images that were in my head. It's the same with the audiobooks. Sometimes I don't know if I physically read a book or if I listened to it because the images are the same.
So maybe you should say you've captured.
I've
Captured.
experienced.
You've captured
Yeah.
a book, but you haven't read it. You haven't read words with your eyes
I've
and gone
spent the
left to
time.
right for hours.
I have spent the time.
What, reading?
I've spent the time. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not diminishing it at all.
I put in the 65 hours for the most recent Sanderson book.
I understand.
I put it in. I did those hours.
I understand. I'm not diminishing the medium. I'm literally saying we shouldn't say read if we're not reading.
How about readed it?
Why?
Because you're not reading.
Okay, so
you're literally like, if you're gonna read a book,
is there more
you're
merit?
not gonna go to work and you're just gonna do your work while reading on your phone or in a book.
Okay, but is there more merit to physically reading a book?
No.
Yeah, I don't think
I just
so
want to
either.
be correct.
I say read because in my head they're the same.
All right, that's fine. I think of them as two different things.
So when you
same content, different things.
Consume a book, whether you're listening to it or reading it,
Yep.
I don't know where I was going with that. I honestly, I had somewhere, but
did I cut you off a while ago?
You did.
Finish what you were going to say after you said red and,
That's how the tables have turned. You cut me off, not me cutting you off.
Yeah.
I don't have any more to say, but I just wanted to bring that up.
I'm excited. I'd like to listen to some of Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis has always been a good voice actor, good
physical actor as well.
Well, but if you think about it, yes, he does play the role of what like Gollum, Caesar, the animated or the whatever.
It's really just those two, isn't it?
I think
Snoke, I think, in Star Wars.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he played the Hobbit King the Goblin King.
Yeah, he probably did.
In The Hobbit. Okay.
Yeah, he's done quite a few roles, and he's like helped people or like consulted. I don't even know on quite a few movies where people do that. But ultimately, I think he is a voice actor because he uses his voice to create that character, and then he kind of
he just does the movements.
He's also plays in Adventures of Tintin, which is a great movie. He's in that too. So,
what I was gonna say is my dad tried to listen to the Bible, narrated by James Earl Jones.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He said it was good. It just felt like
Darth Vader
reading the Bible to me and then I had to stop.
Yeah.
Once I realized that, I had to stop.
Imagine getting to what is it, Ecclesiastes?
Yeah.
And Darth Vader's kind of narrating. No, I'm sorry. I said Ecclesiastes. I'm thinking Song of Solomon.
Yeah, narrating all of the
narrating,
or like the Book of Judges. I mean,
talking about navels and breasts.
Coconuts.
Was it King James? New King James? ESV? What was it?
I think it was King James.
Dang.
You're like,
if James Earl
betwixt thy breasts.
But
no,
it's like all of the, he made a lot of analogies, like comparisons to
Your dad?
No, the Bible.
Oh yeah.
Solomon himself made a lot of analogies and comparisons to different things when describing the woman he loved.
Mm-hmm. Like grapes.
Like grapes, or
do with that what you will.
Mounds, coconuts, gazelles. I don't know, lots of different things.
Flowers.
Interesting book to read.
Let me tell you, it's poetic.
It's poetry.
You think? I'm not talking about this on this podcast that we cut things out on. I was gonna say something funny, but I feel like I shouldn't.
Well, we mustn't forget that although we don't promote for young audiences experience.
Yeah.
And
I'm just going to go say it. You think Song of Solomon was hanging? You think he was slinging?
Well, like getting with...
You just said Song of Solomon.
You think Solomon?
Solomon? Maybe.
Yeah?
Probably.
He was Jewish.
It's possible.
So
he was old style Jewish.
Wait,
I don't have any knowledge of old style Judaism. I don't pretend to know. I'm not gonna claim to know.
He was carrying his hammer, or
You're getting a little too specific.
All right, yeah, let's cut this out. Let's cut this out.
We're just gonna
keep
do
moving.
another bleep. That's what we're getting. Another bleep.
Can we talk about this movie or do you guys want to talk about some other stuff first?
I'm good to jump into it. We have a lot to say.
I have a lot to say about this movie.
Okay.
And Josh said earlier that he liked the movie,
which we'll get into it.
I think he's BSing. I think he's gaslighting me.
Okay. If you were gonna watch this movie, pull up the slide.
Bum ba-dum bum 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 bum.
Okay, wait. I know you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen I just lost what it was called. The Tom Cruise movie.
Jack Reacher?
No.
Top Gun.
No.
Mission Impossible.
Alien one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow.
No.
Well,
the other one. With the
throws out Tom Cruise movie.
World's End. No, World
Afterlife?
No.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah,
my guy.
War of the Worlds.
Okay. Tomorrow War of the Worlds. Which one's better?
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
We've said a lot that we're going to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably start by saying the things we've enjoyed, and then we're going to dive into problems.
Yeah. Real quick, real funny story. I was talking to my coworker Gary, and he's like, "Hey, you seen that Tom Cruise movie where he's a pilot?" I'm like, "Top Gun." He's like, "No, no." He's like, "No." It's the one where he's like running drugs. Have you guys seen
Jack
that one?
Reacher?
No, I don't remember what it was called, but he's
Jack
like
Reacher's
he's flying a plane. He's like running drugs. It's based on a true story.
I haven't seen
Running
it.
drugs?
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like the
drugs and guns.
movie Blow to me, but
I don't.
American. It's American something. It's, American.
Yeah. Something. Yeah.
It's like America
one.
something.
America's Dream.
It's something like that. But yeah,
I gotta
he
look
was-
this up.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. I said
Funny.
pilot,
Funny.
and he's like, he says pilot, and I'm like Top Gun. He's like, no,
Not Top Gun. Dang it! Why'd you think that?
I knew which movie he was talking about.
All right.
American Made.
Yeah,
American
American Made.
Made.
Yeah.
I knew it was America something.
If we're just briefly discussing Tom Cruise movies, do not watch Eyes Wide Shut. Just avoid that one.
Or Risky Business.
Never
Now-
seen it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll say this. We say things don't watch. I truly mean don't watch Eyes Wide Shut. I know
Yeah.
curiosity might kill a few of your cats.
I'm definitely
who's
gonna
the
watch it now.
director on
Don't
that
watch.
movie?
The same guy, the white-haired guy. He did a master class. Crap.
The white-haired guy, the guy that
Kubrick?
played.
No.
No, the guy that was in Andy Griffith. That guy.
No, he.
Jurassic
Ron
Park.
White wouldn't
Jurassic Park guy.
direct Eyes Wide Shut. Director of Eyes Wide Shut.
The Jurassic Park guy. You know, what's the rock star?
Stanley Kubrick. Yeah. Kubrick.
Kubrick.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was.
Okay.
right.
Yeah, you were right. Stanley.
Good old Stanley.
He did a master class. Don't watch Eyes Wide Shut.
Why?
I will say, I don't want to get into it.
I tend to avoid.
I
Kubrick
have to watch
movies.
it now.
It's very.
I
all
have
right,
to watch it.
just in case people are like gonna let their curiosity get the best of them. It has to do with a sex cult,
Yeah,
so I wouldn't recommend it.
yeah. I stay away from Kubrick.
I started it out of curiosity. I turned it off about 30 minutes in, and there's only 2 movies I've turned off.
Yeah.
Only 2.
What was the other one?
American Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like it.
You told me that
When he was
before.
killing Jared Leto, I was like, I'm not into this. And so I turned it off.
Well, speaking of movies we didn't turn off,
It's this one.
this one somehow
Why?
I went into this with high hopes.
Oh, I did too. I really did.
So let's talk about some of those high hopes, some of the good things about this movie.
Go ahead. Carry on.
I will say.
I keep waiting for you to hit a slide, but I think this is the
This
only
is
one
it.
you got. Okay.
The thing is, I wanted the audio listeners. We've had multiple weeks of heavy visuals. I wanted the audio listeners to
Yeah.
fully grasp this one without having to have too many visuals.
Number 1, I think, on my list for this movie were the aliens themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens were super cool.
Oh yeah.
I thought they looked cool. They moved really cool.
The
Wait,
close-up
wait.
introduction of the aliens was
Are
crazy.
we
good.
gonna just put like huge spoiler?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Which aliens? The aliens or the alien?
The monsters.
Monster pet thing. that we think of as aliens, or the aliens that were driving the spaceship at the end.
Yeah. Actually, yes. Yeah, it was the aliens that were frozen upside down in the spaceship that got about 5 seconds of screen time.
Because that's the aliens that
Which
were...
we really got to specify which ones we're talking about. It was not that one.
No.
We're talking about the monsters.
Okay. Just, we got to clarify.
Yeah, cover all the bases. I understand. No, the alien, invasive alien species that's ravaging the world, they were really cool.
Oh, yeah.
They were, what were they called? White spikes?
Well,
Yes.
since we're probably going to be... I'm going to be the devil's advocate and say the opposite of you the whole movie. I'm going to say what I didn't like about it. Then when you're saying what you don't like, I'm going to say what I like.
What did you not like about the white spikes?
Not the white spikes. The name of the movie right here. Look at this poster right here. What does it say?
Chris Pratt, The Tomorrow War.
Right there. This movie was sold on Chris Pratt's name.
Of course.
That's really
it.
the only... Actually, no, that's not the only negative thing, but that's a negative thing that
We're
Chris
talking
Pratt's
about positive
good.
things.
Chris Pratt
Well, he
is
said
good.
he's going to talk about negatives. Well, we're talking about positive.
Oh, okay.
And then
I
I'm
got
just
you.
going to do the
Reverse
flip-flop, the whole
Okay.
switcheroo.
Chris Pratt's a good actor. I love Chris Pratt's work. I like Chris Pratt in this movie, but I think that's what they were selling it.
They were,
for,
they were
was
absolutely.
Chris Pratt is in this movie Tomorrow Wars. That's how we're going to sell this movie.
Yeah, I mean, because other than him and this man over here, who I don't remember his name,
I'm going to look up his name because we're going to reference him. And then we
He's been
should
in a
know.
couple things.
he's been in some other stuff, but
Go right ahead.
I thought the aliens were really cool. They looked really good. They were very scary and gave people super PTSD. But we'll get into the super PTSD later.
So a couple big names. Obviously, Chris Pratt. We got J.K. Simmons in this one.
Simmons.
He plays Chris Pratt's father.
Oh, yeah.
Which also
Like
a ripped man and a great beard.
Mm.
And
great
a bald
mustache.
head.
You know what complements a good beard? A
Good
good mustache.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
The fellow Joshua and Wyatt were just talking about, his name's Sam Richardson.
Mhm.
If you don't know what he is, he's played on things like Veep.
Mm-hmm.
He's played in this one that just came out not long ago about somebody is a werewolf and this lady traps them in a house because she doesn't know, like him and a group of people, because they don't know who the werewolf is, and they're waiting at the time.
Where's this movie?
I was looking it up. I was like, let's look at new movies. I want to react to something, and I found it, and I was like, yes, Wyatt's gonna love this. Yeah,
We can watch it?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
All right, stop the podcast. Stop the podcast.
But he was in it. It's like a comedy horror thing. So Sam Richardson, he's very up and coming. He's in a lot of stuff right now, but he's brilliant. He's really
very
good
funny.
actor. Who else? The other guy you guys were talking about, his name is Edwin Hodge.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Hodge.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
so
Hodge? Is that Hodge?
Hodge.
Hodge.
Yeah.
Hodge.
I knew a Hodge.
I also love the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
They were essentially alien cattle, but I love them.
They were alien. They were like. So spoilers. The way the movie explains it, which we called early on,
Yes.
is that they there was an alien species, the one that was flying the ship, and they either used these creatures in war, or they dropped them on planets to eradicate the native species of the planet.
Yeah.
Because they breed so quickly and they're so incredibly dangerous. They can shoot spikes out of these tentacles in their backs, I guess, that they have. They're big. They're very hard to kill. You have to kill it by shooting it in the chest or the throat.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to spot if you just open with a critical eye. Because you think right away, they keep referring to these as aliens, but obviously these creatures do not have the intelligence to get themselves to another planet. And so you figure it out, like if you just think about it for half a second, you figure out there's other aliens involved.
And it's not like A Quiet Place where, you know,
they came down in a comet.
They came down in a meteor, and their skin, the outsides of their bodies, they were just, all they have to do is huddle up or remain dormant, and they're basically impervious to everything.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like those.
Well, since we determined we like the aliens, you guys like the aliens. I like them too. They're good. I just was trying to be devil's advocate. What did you think of because Tomorrow Wars is all about like
Time travel?
Time travel, going to the future. What did you think of like the future back and forth thing that they were doing with like people who are coming from the future could only be a certain age because they were not born yet. People who were going into the future were already dead, so they had to be of a certain age. What do you think of that concept? I liked that concept. I think while we were watching it, I think we were kind of like, that's an interesting idea. We didn't come up with that idea, did we? I can't remember. Or we didn't think of it before they actually mentioned it.
But, well, I will say I liked the time travel elements and the way they explain their time travel.
I think I know where you're going.
Is like a river. But the way they explain it is the current, the present, and the future are moving down the river at the same pace. And so you can't go from, the future to this point in the past and the future to this point in the past. The present is all right here, and it's moving on a timeline, and you can't go further into the past.
Yeah.
Because it's moving as well as, almost in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of other things I liked. The action was good.
Mm-hmm.
The Chris Pratt part was good.
Chris Pratt.
We're gonna dive into Chris Pratt in a second.
Pretty good. I know there was something else.
I like Chris Evans' part too.
He was good.
Yeah.
Captain Tomorrow.
Not very specific with the tomorrow.
I can't think.
Okay, think about this. Did they use the weapons correctly with the guns? Was everything accurate in that front?
I mean, I don't want to nitpick on some of that stuff.
Was it kind of close? I know there was a point where you were like, he had a full clip ready.
Yeah,
I don't know why he did that.
There were a couple things where I'm like, well, he has obviously he has a full magazine. Little things like that. It is called a magazine.
I know. I said it. I knew that right after I said clip.
And I think and one of the funny parts is it's like a 30. It's like your standard 30 round magazine. That of course fires 50 to 60 rounds when
Just
you need
nonstop.
them to. When you need it to.
Just nonstop. Dude.
You did predict his daughter.
That was easy.
Yeah.
That was so easy. That's such a, I like time travel. I really like time travel. So it's easy. I've seen a lot of time travel stuff. It's easy to pick out those notes. So for the spoilers continue. His daughter in the present is like 9 years old. And, she's very interested in, what he does. He's a science teacher and stuff. And we'll get into that as well.
There's a lot to get into.
Yeah. And he meets her in the future, which that's an easy call.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And it makes sense because, she couldn't travel back to get everybody because she was alive during that time. But he can travel forward because apparently he's dead by time that time happened.
Yeah.
I guess the actors, if I were to shift slightly the conversation, I wouldn't say any of these actors are bad actors. But the writers were bad writers. We know Chris can act. We know.
Yeah.
We have a lot of evidence.
I've come to like the edge of my prose. So I let's start tearing into the meat of this movie.
Okay.
What kind of meat?
Well, the whole meat of the movie was.
Are we talking like ground beef? We talking about like chopped chicken? Chopped
on
fish?
The meat scale, this is probably, like low tier.
We're talking.
So we're not talking about
hot dogs. I love me some hot dogs.
Yeah, but it's essentially floor scraps.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about like
rolled
lamb
up into
with mint jelly.
No, it's not the lamb with the mint jelly.
Rolled up into a case and presented as food.
Delicious. They're so good.
We were eating hot dogs when watching.
I know. I know. That's probably why we were thinking of it. Let's start.
It was a trashy night, I guess. Then.
Let's start with the time travel.
Okay.
Let's talk about the time travel a little bit. It's bad. We're going to be saying that a lot, I think, throughout this episode. It's bad. The time travel's bad. Not the idea of it. I read it, I think, an article or something once that said, if you get the greatest minds to write a time travel movie, you're going to get some bad time travel. It just always.
Wait, why? I don't get it.
No matter the greatest time travel idea that you can think of to keep there from being, what do they call it? When you meet yourself in the past.
Crossover?
No, to keep
like
there from being
discrepancies.
Paradox, right? No matter the best time travel thing you can think of, there's going to be paradoxes.
Yes.
So this is a tomorrow war. People from the future come to the past because they need people to help them fight in the future, instead of going to the past and being like, let's use the technology that we have, which is basically the same,
get ahead of this
to solve the problem, because the aliens, they don't show up till like, this is
2050.
This is 2022.
Yeah,
they don't show up
in
till
1
like
year
2050, 2048.
They have 30 plus.
They have
30
years.
30 years.
30 years.
To solve this problem, and
It's a lot of time.
they're like there was no crash landing site. There was no, it was very stealthy. I was like, okay, so let's investigate why that was a thing, and you have 30 years to prepare for this. Mm-hmm. And instead of doing that, you are, instituting a worldwide draft.
Yeah.
And
Silliness.
killing half of the present people.
Which, when it comes down to it, why would anyone ever think about, let's start warfare across time instead of saying, let's get to the solution? Which, the funny thing is, again, critical eye, not even that critical. The answer is right. And like, the first thing you think of is kind of how the movie ends.
Yeah. Yeah, the first thing you think of is how the movie ends.
It's not, there's no twists and turns.
Also, I just briefly want to touch on this. There were like anti-war propaganda in the movie.
It's just the silliest.
Like people protesting war. This isn't a war against humans. This is a war against aliens.
Yeah.
Why are you protesting? Well, this is to save the Earth from an invasive species.
Anybody who would think about like protest murderous creatures from the future, like killing them and them killing us.
Yeah.
Zero effect. Why would that was just a silly thing to add to the writing.
Well, it was also, there were some hints of like anti-militarism and just basically anti-draft, which isn't a thing anymore. Anti, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
There shouldn't be protests against the war effort against the aliens, maybe against the draft itself of pulling people, which they shouldn't have been doing in the first place.
Which, didn't it kind of seem like the people from the future showed up and everybody in the present just went like, okay. Like, everyone backed off. All of a sudden, there's world peace and a joint effort to do this one thing, and all of these 20-somethings from the future, because you have to be young to time travel back.
Yeah,
you can't be alive during 2022.
Yeah.
So there's like 20, 25-year-olds coming back in time to communicate this information, and they take control of all this technology, of all of these governments, of all of the systems. They implement a draft, and it's like nobody in the present, like we just turn over and show our bellies. Like, nobody cared.
I was confused because...
Or thought of anything.
I was confused because I thought, wait, is the past the same for the people in the future? Are they... But they were obviously... They were changing the past.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, so instead of changing the past to draft people for the future fight and kill half of them, why not try to fix it from the beginning?
Yeah.
There was also the super PTSD. So people, so there was only like a 30% chance like survival when you were drafted. You get drafted, you're on tour for a week, and then you travel back. People who come back are just like haunted. Absolutely haunted. And I understand regular people coming back and just being haunted by these creatures. They were very violent. They were very scary. But humans adapt pretty well.
Yes.
We figure out ways to adapt.
But not people from the past haven't adapted yet. If they're going to the future.
The issue is people in the future have only been dealing with this for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's only about 500,000 of them left.
Yeah.
The monsters were scary, but were they scary enough to give you super PTSD?
I got some PTSD
when it comes down to it,
yeah.
When it comes down to it, you're either dead or you're alive during warfare.
Exactly.
So, although these creatures are creepy, the thing that happens is you're either dead or you're alive. So there shouldn't be more PTSD than regular warfare.
And it wasn't like you were getting sent in with a bunch of your comrades.
No.
You know, guys that you had trained with for months or years.
You're
going in with a bunch of randos. And so, look, if Gerald and Bethany, get destroyed when the white spines come in, that doesn't affect me as...
Is that what we're calling them?
They're white spines.
Is that what they called them?
White spikes.
White spikes.
Yeah.
I was saying white fang.
They have these little...
White fang comes
White fang. They have these little, like, thick arm antenna things that just, like, produce and spit these, like, diamond-shaped...
Spikes. With toxins on them.
With toxins. Yeah.
So yeah...
Well, okay, let's say something else. This is not the first ridiculous thing, but when they're time traveling, they've done this tons of times. And as soon as our lead gets put in the time traveler for the first time, there's all these people getting sucked up one at a time, and they're all going like, ah, ah, they're just freaking out. And as soon as he gets sucked up, the lady at the computer's like, there's like a malfunction. And then all of a sudden they get dropped out of the air like they're skydiving. And there's just a handful of them.
Yeah,
just managed to land in a
6-foot
pool.
Yeah.
On a rooftop.
Yeah. So
and they're like skydiving into a pool.
So I don't have any issue with like the tech malfunction because this is pretty shoddy technology. This is, the people of the world definitely trying to figure out a solution, and so they scienced up this time travel technology,
which seems harder to do than finding a poison for these creatures,
or literally doing anything else with being able to open up wormholes or use any sort of quantum computing, because you're using quantum computers
for the wormholes.
For the wormholes, you have to be.
Who came up with the quantum thing or transferring through time?
The time? I think it's his daughter. I think his daughter invented time travel
and the cure. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Let's move.
The Skywalkers.
Let's move through the movie from where they drop him into the pool, because that's also how the movie opens. You see him falling out of the sky and landing in the pool, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, how did he get here?" Flashback
for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and then Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie. I like it. It is
a good movie. It's very enjoyable, very fun, very fresh.
That was a good time travel movie.
Good time travel.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, and you didn't really care about any of the paradoxes in that one
because it was contained in a car.
What do you mean paradox? There's
paradoxes.
No.
Yeah, there are.
No.
Yeah,
time paradoxes.
Literally the whole thing is a paradox.
Back to the Future time paradoxes.
No. The whole thing is a paradox.
Or at least there were instances that would have caused paradox.
No.
What are you talking about?
No. He's talking out of his butt.
Behind.
No.
The reason there's no paradoxes. Reason there's no paradoxes in Back to the Future is because they don't acknowledge time travel paradoxes, which is the way to go. Don't acknowledge paradox.
In the second movie, that's what it was mostly about. Have you seen the second one?
That's not a time paradox. That's a time deviation. It's not a paradox. A paradox is something that shouldn't be able to exist. That's more like a time deviation. It's not really like a paradox, something that could break apart the fabric of space and time.
Yeah, the time police will show up.
That's
either
what
the
the
ones
second
from
movie's
Rick and
about.
Morty
Or
or
the TVA.
TVA.
There was a meme where it said, the guy, instead of flipping a bottle, he leans over and takes a drink of it, and then it shows a picture of, like, TVA coming out of the shadows. He made a mistake. He's a variant. So they get dropped into this Tomorrow War, and they're on a building, and they over the comms, they're getting talked to by a general lady.
Yes.
The colonel, who's his daughter. She's basically super Wonder Woman.
Yeah, essentially.
And so
she has a brain that's huge.
She's massive. So she says, we need you to rescue a science team, because science is
king.
Very clearly in this movie, science only solves problems until explosions solve problems later in the movie. So
warfare ends up being the savior after all.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, in the end, where does he go? Whose help does he need? His dad, not science.
We'll get to his dad.
So they get to this place, and they're having to save these scientists who are already dead by the time they get there. And then, but they're told that when they get there, this is the day that these white spikes rest.
Mm-hmm.
But there's dozens of them.
They call it a Sabbath.
Yeah, there's like millions of them. There's like every 7 or 8 days, the white spikes go dormant or like go hide, or they rest, but there's millions of them out and about.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see why that happened.
Yeah, what was the point of the Sabbath idea?
There wasn't millions of them, but there was a lot.
There were a lot, but if they had said like
there was millions of them coming through that water over that tower,
that could, if they had clarified that there were like, it's like there's not going to be as many, but there will be some, and they will be dangerous. That would have made more sense to me.
Do you think they woke them up from the Sabbath? That's why they didn't attack right away? That's why we got that cool opening shot of one panting, just chilling?
They were following them.
But they had the malfunction while they're skydiving. They got thrown to a different...
I don't think that had anything to do with it, but it did say when they hang people up like that, they're like coming back for them. Mm-hmm. So the white spikes could have been resting in that building, or just being, kind of lethargic until they saw the people.
Yeah. Which they also had just killed a bunch.
Yeah.
And they were in the building, and they were going to come back to eat
Plus,
them.
I guess a bunch of people did just fall from the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a bunch of
bodies just landed, that'd make a pretty loud noise.
It would. They'd be like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It would make a lot of noise.
It would make a lot of noise. Yeah.
I wonder if the monsters like were in their Sabbath, they couldn't have actually been asleep, because they were awake for everything to happen. It seems like that opening shot seems like a restful thing, but it doesn't like match the rest of what's the activity of these alien monsters for the rest of the film.
But then also you get into where she's like, I need these scientists rescued. And then they're like, we're going to bomb. What was this city?
Seattle,
Fort
I think?
Lauderdale?
I don't know.
It was in Florida. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're going to bomb this city. It's like, wait a second. I need these scientists rescued. Why don't we hold off on the bombing? But
they're like, there's a lot of monsters.
We're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's a lot of monsters. You got to get them.
The monsters are still going to be there when you bomb the city.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no reason except for that they needed
pressure.
They needed pressure.
Yeah.
Right? And explosions.
Yeah. And something to escape besides just the monsters.
Yeah. Whew.
I will say, along with the monsters, the intensity was good, but you have to ignore so much of the logic of a story to really just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because like nothing makes sense hardly in this film.
Well, it's like also, I pointed out when we were watching it, at the beginning of the movie, they start so strong, and then, they introduce Chris Pratt and they introduce the conflict, and then he goes and talks to his dad, and it completely halts the role of the movie.
But
they said a whole wiki biography back and forth.
Yeah, they were
each
just
other.
talking about their past and the issues they had with
they
each
established
other.
the entire history.
I am all for establishing character development and character motives, but in that scene, it felt like it was halting the progression of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear what you say with that part, but it gave us something for when he came back.
Yeah, that's important, but they should have done it differently, I think.
I think what would have been a better thing, because there was so much of like family in this movie, just out of nowhere.
Dom rode in his car.
Family.
Well, I need a time travel machine.
I don't think they should have put his dad in there. It shouldn't have been his dad, I guess. It should have been like some other person that does help him at the end, but like not have to throw so much like backstory into it, because if you just met with this guy that he knew maybe back when he was in the army or something, it wouldn't have to throw so much backstory because it didn't have to have a relationship with his father.
So we get into him and his daughter. They meet. They realize he realizes.
The future.
Yeah, in the future, he realizes who she is. She's
we were in the past, now we're in the
colonel,
future.
scientist, time travel wizard extraordinaire. And I guess they just go. So
there's a beach scene.
They establish that they have found a way to use the male white spikes toxin. To subdue them. Yeah. They can make it into an aerosol and spread it around and subdue the male white spikes, which there's the majority of. They haven't captured a female, like the queen white spike.
Which, pretty tropey.
Yeah.
They're a beehive.
Yeah, beehive stuff, always with aliens.
Yes.
So there's a scene, they capture a female white spike, and they take her to the science lab in the middle of the ocean where also the time travel is kept. And
the same spot
where they do the time. And
well, it's where they do science.
And the time travel radio tower. So they spend how long was this montage?
I don't know. It was probably well, they had a whole conversation set up, then they had like a whole like working together thing.
Yeah, she establishes she doesn't like him because he left her and her mom.
That was biography number 2, by the way.
In an alternate past.
Which I'm just gonna say, the way Chris Pratt's character is, totally unbelievable concept for his character.
I actually want to contradict you here. Because at the beginning of the movie, she says around that age is sort of when I felt like things were, changed. Things changed when I was around 9 years old. Because if you remember, they established that he doesn't get the big science job that he wanted.
Yeah.
He tried, he worked so hard, and he didn't get it. So they established that he was maybe already on a path of bitterness, and eventually probably self-deprecation, and he would eventually separate from her mom, and then get divorced, and then die in a car accident.
Yeah. Great cinematic death.
So she establishes that she doesn't like him, and that she loves him.
And she's also pissed at him.
And they start to do science. They extract
for hours.
They extract the stuff from the queen, and while all the other soldiers are fighting and dying and, forced to spend the rest of this 7 days in the future dying, he gets to spend quality time with his daughter. And she establishes that's the reason she wanted him here.
Yeah.
Even though they, it was a draft.
Which blows my mind that someone who couldn't get a job because there's other people more qualified was able to father-daughter do science
so that
to
was
save the future
That was
world.
another problem with the movie is like, okay, if she's the first person, if he's the first person she thought of to help her, the greatest scientific mind on the planet, were there not other people that they could have brought here to help them?
Absolutely. A whole team.
Instead of killing everybody in these future wars against aliens?
A whole team.
A whole team of
Or
scientists.
Let's just go ahead and bring them back and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like bring them to the back as we opened with. Fix
the only
it from back in
problem I
time.
had in the whole movie the biggest problem I had was when they were doing this science.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't wear the white lab coats.
Nothing.
You know?
They didn't, I don't think they had gloves on, no goggles. They were just doing science.
They had a microscope.
And she didn't say, Kronk, pull the lever.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
He's my friggin'. He's my. But no, there's just too many ridiculous moments in this film. Also, one of the lab scenes, they made them look like aliens.
Okay.
Their eyes.
So after they spend 7 days doing science in this science montage,
it's probably like 4 days.
It's like he leaves the lab. And you're like, all right, that's scene. Comes back to the lab for a conversation. And they have this weird, prolonged conversation from the same two angles. Right? They just go back and forth.
I'm going to give you an example in the editing. Just back and forth.
And there were no shadows, so it didn't have that cinematic shadow side look. Plus, their eyes were green.
They were glowing green.
That's what they were doing. It wasn't the shadow, it was the eyes.
The green eyes.
Yeah. It was a different
The color
trick.
correcting in the scene was so bad, their eyes were green.
So they had an intern color grade that
Oh
scene.
my gosh, it was
An
bad.
intern fresh out of school. Doesn't know how to use DaVinci yet.
So after this scene, the white spikes decide that they want this queen back. So they swim through the ocean and apparently are powerful swimmers.
Oh, yeah.
And can glide, too. They have, like...
They're not land bound. They can go in air. They're not...
Yeah.
They're not...
airbound.
Repellent by sea.
Mm-mm. I thought,
They can
the
swim.
physiology of these creatures, they're obviously earthbound.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
Land-bound.
one just freaking flying squirrels off of the side of a
Yeah,
cliff side.
and then they're swimming through the water super fast as like motorboats.
Yeah.
And they start climbing the walls and they're after the queen. The queen breaks out because they were having a moment instead of injecting her with
Sedation.
And so she starts chasing them around. They now have
The serum.
The female white spike serum that they can turn into an aerosol to subdue these creatures. And she says, we can't use it here. Your goal is to take it into the past so that they can weaponize it. And I was like, okay, there we go. Smart.
Well, we all were thinking.
Stop the future from happening by doing science and creating this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which wouldn't it be safer if the majority of people came to the past and just traveled to the future when they needed to get the serum instead of trying to send warfare to that, side of time?
His daughter gets white spiked through the stomach,
straight.
And he's sitting there, and they have a moment while she's dying, and
a lot of good moments in this movie.
And she gives him the serum, and then she's like falling to her death, and he jumps after her
with the serum.
Knowing
full well his young daughter version is still in the past.
And he has humanity's only hope. And if he actually manages to reach her, there's a bunch of white spikes down there.
Yeah, they're both getting ripped apart.
Fortunately, due to, time travel, he vanishes.
In midair.
Because his time travel timer was up.
And he has an arm thing. Which this leads to the best laugh of the film.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so they all drop back into the present. Him and a bunch of other now war veterans with super PTSD. One dude. So they establish in the movie that these cufflinks to these arm gauntlet things.
They put it on this one.
That's what makes that. They're like, you have to be wearing this to
Time
travel
yeah,
back and to travel back here. And
it monitors everything.
They can find you with it globally. If you tamper with it, you'll be arrested, blah, blah, blah. So they all come back, and there's one dude, you just see him briefly, he like gets up and he's missing this arm.
But he's doing it to make it seem like he's about to have some super PTSD on set. But he's missing the arm, that's required to time travel. And I look at it and I'm just like, classic war scene. And Wyatt looks at me, he's like, Where's the thing that just caused him to time travel? Unless time travel took his arm during the process.
Jeez.
He lost his arm from a creature without the ability to time travel and came back.
So then
it was a good funny moment.
They solve the problem, him and his wife.
Yeah. Well, he holds the serum and he's like, secrets. And his wife is like, well, why don't you guys just search, where you think they came from? Earlier, his wife. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, at this point, they start to think like, these are pretty dumb creatures. There's no record of anything falling out of the sky.
Or landing.
Yeah. I wonder.
Could they have
already been here? Like they thought they were smart enough to get here on their own?
Wait, can we time travel for a second back to the Tomorrow War? Because we glossed over something that was very funny to me in the moment. So they're arguing. They're having this moment back and forth where they're arguing, and you hear the little computer go 30% bond, and I'm thinking that's a familial bond, right? And then they come to a conclusion. They're like smiling at each other, and it says 100% bond, and Mackenzie goes, it's talking about their bond. And I was like, yes! Family.
They were like... the computer was showing like the progress of the father-daughter bond.
It was the serum, but it was showing... But
it was side by side.
Yeah, there were a lot of levels.
Time. What do you think, Joshua? You've lain silent for a while. I want to hear a frustration you had.
These are all good points. But... I'm not going to hate on the movie as much as you guys.
Give it a go.
To hate on the movie?
You might give it a go.
No.
You might get addicted.
No, it was entertaining.
All right, go ahead and give us something.
It was a Amazon Prime movie. It wasn't a Netflix movie. It wasn't a HBO movie. So it had moments, but I liked it. I mean,
here's
it's got Chris Pratt.
The thing.
It's got
we can't say
aliens.
We can't say well. It was an Amazon Prime movie because I've seen the production value that comes out of Amazon Prime. I've seen some of the movies and TV shows they've made. Yeah, and they are top notch. They rival HBO and anything that comes out in theaters.
Well, outside of those green eyes, this was pretty good production value.
It was pretty good production value, but the writing and it just. I don't think we have to be like, yeah, it was a good movie and ignore all the bad things because maybe it was kind of fun. It's important to critique a movie.
Yeah.
If it's bad.
Because who's going to learn if we don't?
We can't keep, saying it was good enough and let Hollywood keep making good enough.
Yeah, 9 family movies, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
9. Like anything's gonna be different. They're gonna add a few extra new faces, but there's 9 of them, and we already know that Vin Diesel's a creep. We already know.
But it's for family. So ultimately, the Chris Pratt gets his dad, and they find the spaceship after they go to the volcano scientist expert, not from NASA or from
anywhere. Reputable anything.
Just a kid in his class who knows about volcanoes doing basic detective work. It's like there's ash under these claws. It came from this volcano. If the ice melts at this particular point at this particular date and time, blah blah blah.
Volcano.
Then they don't get approval from the one government figure you see. That they don't get approval to weaponize this super toxin, which has killed countless people at this point, both future and present. At this point, has killed millions.
Yes.
They don't give the serum to science to turn it into an aerosol and save the world.
And
when it does happen,
maybe give all these soldiers who are dying some actual good defense.
Yeah, like some smoke grenades or anything.
No, they're not going to do that.
Also, the time travel thing was destroyed.
Yeah,
the last time he time traveled.
So he has a serum. That's the last hope.
He gets a few of these people together, his dad, and they go. They find Sam. They find the ship. And they have all of the toxin that they've been able to create. He and a few of the young future people, they've created a certain amount of this toxin, and they have all of it, and they're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. If they die, the future dies.
Yes. And might I also say, at this moment in the film, there is the best dialogue I think I heard.
Yeah.
Which Chris Pratt looks on his little compass thing, and he's like, is anyone else's, tracker acting up? And he looks at his dad, and what does his dad say?
Yeah. He just goes, yeah.
He just looks at him, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they break into the spaceship, and by doing that, not only do they move up the timeline for when these creatures could attack by letting them out early and dooming the world, they also have all of the serum dooming the world, and they have no knowledge about anything dooming the world.
And they even had the conversation about governments.
Yeah.
And they were like, best not to get the government involved.
Yeah, they wouldn't have any resources. We have a few snowmobiles, some C4, and
my dad.
So they go in, they discover the hanging.
Quickly find this ship. Quickly.
Yeah, the aliens, they break in with a saw, and they find the white spikes are in these cocoons, and they've been, whatever this species was, they crash landed here, and they were using white spikes as probably like to drop on worlds. And
death cattle.
Yeah, death cattle. So they inject a queen with the serum, and it kills her. They also inject some males for some reason.
I think they were panicking. Sam was there.
Well, he wasn't in the ship. And
you're right, he wasn't.
They accidentally start waking up all the white spikes.
Just like because one of them freaked out, and the rest of them are like, I'm awake.
Yeah, so they start waking up all the white spikes. And you know how they solve this problem, right? They use the serum. They turn it into a toxic cloud. They all get out of the ship safe and alive and destroy all the white spikes, right?
Correct.
Wrong.
Yeah.
They didn't need the serum at all.
Nope.
Nope. They didn't need the serum.
Didn't need it.
Because they blew up the ship, which killed all the white spikes.
So that's still science.
In theory, all they had to do was confirm
that the serum works.
Confirm that they were in there.
Yeah.
And then set bombs
and get out
and blow it up. No hassle. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Easy as pie.
So the movie ends with
apple pie,
the explosion of the white spikes, but one queen escapes. So J.K. Simmons, Chris Pratt's dad, and Chris Pratt fist fight it to death.
Yep. And J.K. Simmons is this close to sacrificing himself for the safety of his son. And turns out it was unnecessary.
It was unnecessary.
And not only did he not sacrifice himself, but Chris saved him. So Chris was like, that's unnecessary. and
in the process, you know what? I think they used up all the serum.
They did. Of killing that queen fist fighting.
If these aliens come back and drop these death cattle again,
yeah, they're screwed.
They're done. No serum.
All in all, Joshua, in conclusion, give us a conclusion.
Watch it, don't watch it. It's your opinion.
Honestly, if you have Amazon Prime,
you should watch it.
You should watch it. I'd say you should watch it because you might enjoy it.
Once we started noticing the cheese, it was a heck of a laugh.
Oh, man.
The real question
Mackenzie
is,
didn't want to watch
was
it.
No,
she didn't want to.
Giggling,
and then we started having fun.
Yeah.
What kind of cheese was it?
It was a stank cheese.
A blue cheese.
And blue's pretty good.
I love me some blue cheese.
You want to go get some blue cheese?
Maybe.
Maybe.
When you guys
Just
go
eat it
on
with
your
my
blue
fingers.
cheese, you guys can go on your blue cheese date. I'm not coming.
Okay. Yeah. Look, I'd say give it a watch.
Definitely give
you
it
might,
a watch.
You might enjoy it if you watch this before you watch it. Obviously, I mean, I guess you're gonna pick up on all the things we talked about.
And maybe it might be more enjoyable if you don't care too much about spoilers.
Yeah.
But I just want to say one last thing. We know that Sam, Chris, J.K.
Mm-hmm.
These are all
J.K.
great.
Rowling.
Did I say J.K. Rowling?
J.K.
Wait,
No.
what is his name? J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. You said it right.
We all know these are great actors.
Mm.
These are really good actors. I do not lay blame at the feet of any of them.
I blame
Because-
the writers.
Well, the thing is, they had some lines to deliver, and they gave it a go.
There was a couple that Chris delivered where I was like, nobody.
Nobody.
The beach scene.
We tried to do it to each other. It wasn't working.
That beach scene.
Yeah.
There were some lines. Oof,
With him and his daughter, where he
So whose line
Finds
is
out.
it anyway?
Chris.
it was Chris's, and
So-
he was up the creek,
Yeah.
you know, with
That was,
that,
that was a
script.
joke. I don't
Sam-
know if you.
Yeah, well, I got it.
I don't know if
I
you got it.
Sam was there to deliver a little bit of comic relief. And while I think he could have done it if the
Better.
writing was better, I mean, the jokes were badly timed. They were
Yes.
badly timed, a lot of it. And so it didn't feel like it was levity. It
Mhm.
felt a little bit like just bad writing.
Yeah.
But he was a funny character, and there were a couple funny things, you know, and
It was
fun stuff that he
classic,
did.
like lighthearted, goofy Chris
Yeah.
being thrown into something that's serious.
It was a good time when J.K. Simmons and him were shooting aliens,
Oh yeah.
and they managed to get out to the snowmobiles, and Chris is like, did you get him? And he's like, I got one. I got one. He got one with the saw.
Yeah.
I got one of them, and Simmons is there. He's like shot like 4 of them, killed a bunch of them.
I got one. He's got alien blood all over him.
Watch the movie. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what other people think.
Let us know. Comment what you think about this movie.
Yes.
Or you can tell us on social media.
Yeah. Also, let us know what you think about our commentary of
Yeah.
this film.
Yeah.
Or why it's commentary.
I talked a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I
This
threw
is-
in a few jabs.
I felt very strongly about this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which it's good that you let it.
It wasn't
up.
a waste of time.
No.
You know?
No,
Movie.
if I had watched it by myself, it would have been a waste of time.
Yeah.
But I was watching it with you guys, and we were eating. That's
And
a
we
good
were
afternoon.
enjoying it.
That's a good afternoon to me.
Yes,
Which is-
absolutely.
That was weird. You called me and said, "Hey, we're feeding you. Come here. Come to our apartment." And I was
Yeah,
like,
it was July
"What?"
5th.
Yeah, it was the Monday we were off, and he had still had to work.
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
And we had eaten July 4th food together, and Joshua was like, "What do you mean you're gonna feed me?" Like, well, we have leftovers.
well,
Yeah.
thanks for watching this episode. I know this is a little bit different, a little review. We don't do much reviews like this on this
Yeah.
channel. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel.
Mm-hmm.
Follow us on all the socials. We have wiseworksfilms.com. We got the podcast tab. Go there.
Yeah. Yep.
Check that out. And watch the Midnight Special Friday night, Saturday night, and just Friday night.
Friday night and beyond.
We got a
Yeah.
lot of new content coming out.
And go watch. Listen. You got to listen. You can't watch. The
Yep.
Midnight Special every Friday night, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., not a.m., or
Pacific Standard.
yeah,
Yeah.
No.
Pacific. Yeah.
We roll in our time here. We're Eastern boys.
yeah.
You guys can listen to the Midnight Special on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify,
Stitcher.
Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. Yes. And if you listen on the grand Apple Podcasts, leave a review, will ya? We have all podcasts that we do on these platforms, but the Midnight Special is where you'll find, well, it's all these platforms where you'll find the Midnight Special exclusively.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for sticking with us. We hope it was entertaining.
And if you didn't like this, come back next week. We'll have something different for you.
It'll be different.
Yeah.
It's always different.
It's always different. We got a doozy for you next week. We talked about this. We haven't talked about this yet.
Let's talk
will.
about it.
Okay.